Hey, what's up YouTubers? It's me again, Brian, aka Gamer55551. Excuse me. And I am back with a video review, and for this review we're going to be taking a look at Darksiders 3 for the PlayStation 4, also available on Xbox One and PC and Steam as well. And if you're interested in the gameplay footage, or at least gameplay footage of me playing Darksiders 3, I'll have a link in the description, or you can, this way, or you could take a look at, click on the card up here to go, straight to the gameplay footage of me playing Darksiders 3. Now, the Darksider series is sort of a very interesting series for me, though. When the original one came out, and I believe that was back in, I think, 2010, though, it was definitely a fun game, but a lot of people pointed it out of how you can easily point out stuff like this part's like The Legend of Zelda, this part's like God of War, this part's like Maximo, Ghost of Glories, and all that stuff. And despite people pointing that stuff out, though, it was a fun game. I mean, it was for those who owned a PS4 and Xbox 360, or, they re-released it on PS4 and Xbox One, though. It was the closest thing you could say to having like a Zelda-like game on their system, since PS4 and since Sony and Microsoft don't have their own Zelda game, or sort of. I do believe that some people refer to the Dark Cloud series as sort of Sony's take on the Zelda series, but they haven't touched that series for a while, and I really wish they did. I really would love to see a Dark Cloud 3. Of course, the sequel came out, but it came out at a bad time, though. Although the game was fun, and it had a little bit of that Zelda and a bit of that Diablo mix to it, with the whole loot and stuff. The game came out at a bad time due to the fact that THQ was facing financial issues. And because of that, eventually THQ closed its doors for good and sold off their IPs and all that stuff. And Darksiders was one of the IPs that had a bit of a hard time being sold to several different groups or different people that wanted to buy the rights, while other series like the Saints Row, Homefront found home from other developers as well. But over the years, THQ has re-emerged under the name THQ Nordic, though, and that company lately has been buying up not only studios, but reclaiming a lot of their IPs that they lost when the old THQ sort of bit the dust and all. And one of those, of course, was the Darksiders series. And with that, we come to the conclusion with Darksiders 3, which basically has sort of gotten a controversial response depending on who you ask. But I will say, based on my time with the game, though, I would say it's not as bad as a lot of people make it out to be, but I can also understand some of the criticism. So why don't we get started with the pros and cons? We'll start off first one with the pro, and the first one is the story. Excuse me. One of the things about the Darksider series I kind of like is the story in the game, as this one sort of plays out as the apocalypse happens. Only thing is that War, one of the four horsemen of the apocalypse, is framed for starting it inappropriately and all that stuff. And it was interesting how each of the entries of the series you played, the first one you played as War, the second one you played as Death. This one, though, you play as Fury, though, and she is certainly a interesting character and all that. So from a story perspective, I've always enjoyed the Darksider series in terms of its story, and that still holds true with Darksiders 3. The next thing I do want to talk about is the art style in the game, and again, this is one of the series' strong points. I love the art style in the Darksider series. I think they kind of went for a little bit of a comic book look to it, and Darksiders 3 continues that tradition in a way. Some of the enemy designs look nice, some of the art style in the game looks nice. It does give off a little bit of a comic book look to it, though, just like Darksiders 1 and 2 did. So from the art style perspective, though, the game still looks good. And last but not least is the gameplay in this game. Despite what some out there like to say, though, I don't have a problem with the gameplay. I like the idea of the whole Castlevania, Dark Souls gameplay mechanics that they have in the game, though. Seeing Fury with their whip does sort of give back the memory of, this feels like what a Castlevania game would have been if Konami would continue to make a Castlevania game. Not that I have anything against the Netflix Castlevania series though, but given where Konami is right now, who knows when we'll see another Castlevania video game. But as for the Dark Souls gameplay, I really don't have a problem with that though. It adds a bit of a challenge, and in a way, compared to say Dark Souls or Bloodborne or Noih, if I'm saying the name correctly, I find this game, even though it takes a Dark Souls gameplay, I find it to be a bit more forgiving than say the other games though. I mean, the other games can be brutal and can be tough. This one, not so much, even at it's set at a normal difficulty, although you can adjust it to easy if you want to. So I don't find the game to be as difficult as say the Dark Souls would be. I'm not saying the game isn't challenging, but I find, based on my time with it, I didn't find it to be as difficult as say the other Dark Souls like games. So I will say, in terms of gameplay, I like the fact that they went with sort of a Castlevania and Dark Souls gameplay mechanics for this one, and I thought it was fun. I mean, I understand not everyone likes the Dark Souls games. Some people have issues with it. I know some people find it to be difficult, but I really did not have an issue with it, at least based on my time with it. Okay, we're going to take a quick break. When we get back, we'll get to part 2, which is the con. So, excuse me. Ooh. So we'll take a quick break, and we will be right back. Okay, and we are back with part 2 of our my video, or excuse me, my video review of Darksiders 3 for the PlayStation 4, also on Xbox One and PC and Steam. So now that I gave you the pros of it, why don't we get started with the cons? And we'll start off with the first one, and that is the graphics though. As I said before though, in the pros though, I do like the art style in the game, and I still stand behind that. That said though, while the art style in Darksiders 3 is still good, the graphics, or at least in certain parts of it, it's kind of a hit and miss. Some of the areas look, some parts of it look a little bit bland. Other parts look like it's like it's not completely finished and all that stuff. And some areas, when you get up close, just doesn't really look that impressive though. So for me, the graphics in the game are kind of a hit and miss in certain areas, and that is a little bit unfortunate considering how good looking that Darksiders 1 and 2 were, to be exact. The next thing I do want to talk about is that there is certainly some technical issues with Darksiders 3, or at least based on my time with it, at least with the PlayStation 4 version though. While I won't say the game crashed or made the game virtually unplayable, I haven't ran into any kind of situation like that based on my time with the game. I did notice that there are, on certain occasions, and depending on, and in certain spots, there are times where the game does pause for like maybe a couple seconds or something like that before starting up again. Now sometimes that could happen where, like, if you're going into a certain area and the game is sort of saving, there are certain save points, I presume. But at the same time, it does that just unexpectedly. It just pauses for just a couple seconds, and then it just starts up. So the game kind of freezes for a few seconds. That, and of course there are occasions that sometimes loading time does feel a little bit longer than usual in this one. So there are certainly some technical issues. Has it made the game unplayable based on my time with it? No, but it is a little annoying that it's there. And last but not least, I do want to say that although I liked Darksiders 3, and although I like the fact that they went with a Castlevania and Dark Souls approach, I still prefer Darksiders 1 and 2 approach, preferably Darksiders 2. The reason why I like that approach is I like the whole Zelda approach they made with the game. I'm more of a Zelda fan than a Dark Souls fan. Not that I hate Dark Souls or anything like that. I enjoyed the game, but I just prefer the Zelda approach from the first one. Mostly the second one, since I really enjoyed the second one the most, with the mixture of that Diablo approach with it, the whole loot and all that stuff. So it's not that I hate Darksiders 3, I just just prefer that Zelda approach, though. Another thing I want to point out is that I just think it's odd that the game doesn't have, there's no mini-map, or you can't really block. You could dodge, but you have to sort of time the dodge right, sort of time it right as well. So, I mean, it's annoying. It's an odd choice for them to not put a mini-map in there, or you can't block and all that stuff, considering in other games, other Dark Souls-like game, you can actually block and all that stuff. So, but my overall approach is on that one is that, although I enjoy the Castlevania Dark Souls approach, I still prefer the Zelda approach from the first and second Darksiders game. Overall, I enjoy Darksiders 3 though, okay? I don't think it's the best entry in the series, and I can understand and all that, but I still enjoy the game. I can understand some people don't like the approach they made with Darksiders 3, and to some degree I agree with them though, but I don't hate the game or anything like that. I like the fact they went with a Castlevania Dark Souls gameplay, which certainly isn't a bad thing, but I still prefer the Zelda approach, as I said earlier though, and it's just not as bad of a game. I just think some of the complaints about it, not all of them, but some of them seem a little bit ridiculous in a certain degree. But overall, my takeaway from Darksiders 3 is it's a good game. I enjoy it, but I still prefer Darksiders 2. I think that's my favorite entry though, and with a little bit of Darksiders 1, but Darksiders 2 still remains my favorite entry in the Darksider series. So overall, I enjoyed it though, but again, I don't hate it, but like I said, Darksiders 2 is my favorite. Okay, this concludes this video review of Darksiders 3 for the PlayStation 4. And again, these are my opinion. What are yours? What are your thoughts about Darksiders 3? Is it as bad of a game as some people make it out to be, or do you don't think it's as bad as a lot of people claim it is? Do you like the Castlevania Dark Souls approach to this, or do you think they should have gone with the approach with Darksiders 1 and 2, which is more of the Zelda approach? Do you still plan on picking up the game despite some people being divided about Darksiders 3? Do you agree with what I said in this video? Do you disagree? Do you have a difference of opinion? As always, sound off on the comment section below. Let me know what you think. And I hope you hit that like button. I would appreciate it. And I hope you do subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you do, make sure you hit the bell icon for notifications of any new videos I put up though. Also, feel free to share this video if you want to, and feel free to donate to my channel if you like. You can do it through PayPal me or Patreon. Links will be in the description of this video. And I will see you again next time when I do another video. Hopefully that'll be soon. Until then, for Southern California, I wish you all a good evening, and of course, Happy New Year as well. Bye!